Something terrible is about to happen, says the intuition of a soldier in a battlefield. This evening, he doesn't see any enemies as far as he can see. Everything seems perfectly normal, but his intuition tells him that something bad is about to happen. He starts to think of his wife and children and starts to miss them. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a missile strikes, tragically killing both him and 15 of his fellow crewmates. There were definitely no enemy troops around the 10-kilometer radius when this incident happened. So where did the missile come from? The answer lies in 3 letters: UAV, Unmanned Aerial Vehicle, aka drones. Drones are like remote-controlled toy helicopters but with deadly weapons. They behave like silent snipers in the sky. Drone attacks can be carried out by dropping bombs, firing a missile, or crashing into a target. Payloads could include chemical, radiological, or even biological hazards. But there is something much more worse than individual drones, and they are swarms of drones that may attack simultaneously or as a group. But more on that later. Often in military history, a single weapon system can easily become dominant and powerful, marking a new age of warfare. For instance, take the case of the longbow used by the English archers in the Middle Ages, or the heavily armored tanks that terrorized the ground combat of World War II. Drones are no longer the weapons of tomorrow, they are the weapons of today. Drone strikes are also used for assassinations by several countries. Yeah, if you're pissed off with someone, why go the legal way by, filing a case, going to court, when you can just blast them off? The world is heading in a great direction. It's a wonderful time to be alive. But the story doesn't end there. There is also a much more deeper mental or psychological effect behind the use of drones as a military weapon. You see, during a drone attack, the enemy is unaware of the direction of the next attack, and this is crucial. The mindset of soldiers are literally ruined, because from now on, they cannot feel secure in their safe zone, with drones sneaking into the back, side-striking soldiers, weapon systems, and infrastructure. But an important thing to note here is that drones are becoming more and more cheaper and accessible. If you look at it from the negative point of view, this is bad news. It's bad news for me because you are still watching the video without subscribing to the channel. Anyway, since the turn of the century, majority of the drone strikes have been carried out by the US military and Israel in countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Syria, Iraq, Somalia, Yemen, and Libya using air-to-surface missiles. As years roll by though, things have changed drastically over the years. Now over 100 countries and non-state groups have access to armed drones. Drones are also increasingly being deployed by Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and even by certain militant groups. China is by far the leading exporter of armed drones worldwide, but drones are not just accessible to leading military powers alone. Russia may be a decade or so behind the US in terms of sophistication of its most advanced technology, but the Russian armed forces may be well ahead in terms of integrating drones into their fighting units. Because if you think about it, there are numerous ways in which drones can be used to bring about mass destruction. The first one is going the smart way. Surprisingly enough, military drones need not always be loaded with explosives with the motive to destroy. They can also be used to creepily sneak into your base, jam your enemy's communications, and spy on their evil plans. Drones are able to digitally and instantly provide precious information about the battlefield, with their ability to just float up there, often at a high altitude over a target, watching it ceaselessly for many hours. And yes, drones can do what the US loves the most. Any guesses? Drones can be used as a status or power symbol. Large drones like the Predator and the Reaper help the US exert power across the globe. If you think about it, drones give a country cheap access to Airforce on a comparative scale. It kind of substitutes fighter jets by like 5 to 10%. Although that is negligible, they are also effective instruments in fulfilling military and political goals without the use of fighter aircrafts or escalating to war. Just to point out an incident, in Idlib in March 2020, Turkish drones were actually able to reach targets that F-16 jets could not, thereby obtaining the same effects as warplanes, but this time without causing the same military or political consequences that the more traditional penetration into hostile areas of other countries would bring about. But as I said earlier, military experts are worried about something more alarming. Since low-cost drones can be built in large numbers, there is a lot of talk about futuristic drone swarms. Swarms of drones aren't so much defined by the number of drones in an attack, but their ability to cooperate together without any human involvement. And drone swarms could be used for simultaneous multi-directional attacks in ways that could overwhelm human defenders. But if the drone threat is so well understood, why is it so hard to counter? Well, most drones in use today are smaller and lower to the ground, and that means that many air defense systems are not optimized to shoot them down. Many countries are actually working to develop countermeasures against drones, and this includes interestingly developing drones that take down other drones. The future will really be a great place to live. If all this isn't enough, just wait till artificial intelligence is integrated with drone technology. This will ensure that all hell definitely breaks loose. On that positive and optimistic note, I would recommend you guys to check out my other content and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, turn on the notifications without fail. And I'll see you next time.